Good morning, everyone. We're just waiting for the parties to join, and then we'll get started with our final pre-hearing conference.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I think we're just waiting for the respondent to join. I think he's in the process of joining.
There he is.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Castro.
Good
Good morning, sir.
All right, so I believe everyone is here. So everyone's good to get started. We can call this to order. Good morning. Today is Monday, October 27th, 2025. The time is 9:31 a.m. This is the final pre-hearing conference, the matter of William Castro before the Massachusetts Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission. This proceeding is open to the public. We are convening remotely over Zoom, and this hearing is being recorded. The Honorable Kenneth J. Fishman is the presiding officer over today's pre-hearing. My name is Lizzie Zhao, and I'm the hearings administrator for the Post Commission, and this matter is now before Judge Fishman.
Thank you, Lizzie. If the counsel would state their appearances, please.
Timothy Hartnett for the commission.
Good morning, Your Honor. Walter Jagers for the respondent, William Castro.
No, Mr. Castro is present as well. Okay, so we're here for a final pre-hearing conference. I know it's I think I can guess the answer to this question, but I assume that there's been no progress toward resolution of this matter. Is that fair to say?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the hearing, which is scheduled for next week. We have scheduled it for 2 days, and then I got your list of proposed exhibits. More importantly, in terms of time, the joint witness list, which lists something like let's see, 20 witnesses between the parties. It wasn't clear to me whether either side was raising any objections to any of those particular witnesses. There may be some, I understand there always may be admissibility issues and relevance issues as we go along, but no party is seeking to exclude any of these individual witnesses. Is that right, Mr. Hartner?
Correct.
And Mr. Jacobs?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right.
One clarification. I believe the time listed for Mr. Castro is by error too short a period of time. Mr. Hartnett is not sure yet whether he is going to call him or not call him in his case. We put down a time for cross-exam, but I believe you had indicated you want both sides to do all their questioning of a witness when the witness is presented, whether it is on cross or on direct.
Right.
Castro, obviously, because most of the documents relate to him, would be a significantly longer witness. The other issue I wanted to bring to your attention.
Well, tell me what significantly longer means in your estimation.
Well, depending on whether Mr. Hartnett calls him and what is elicited, it might be up to 4 hours of testimony because there are many documents and there are videos that would be shown, and he would have to be walked through those based on the different allegations. Some allegations will be very brief, but some of the pursuit and the issues surrounding the investigation of the pursuit by the city will take some more time and some introduction of documents. I don't know how much of that would or would not be done in Mr. Hartnett's case, or whether he will or will not decide to call him. He had not made that decision when we had spoken. So I expect it would be several hours that Mr. Castro would have to be there to respond to all of the lengthy show cause
All right.
issues.
I get it. Was there another issue on the regarding the witnesses you were about to say?
Yes, Your Honor. You had issued an order that if someone wanted to appear by Zoom, that had to be done by last Monday. We have not gotten to the point where we have been able to determine yet which witnesses we might allow to appear by Zoom. I spoke with Attorney Houghton from the city of Lawrence. He has agreed to accept the subpoenas, as we had discussed at the last hearing, but he was very much opposed to having all of these individuals come in to spend a day or two at the civil service hearing room waiting to be called. I told him that I thought, although I couldn't anticipate Mr. Hartnett's case, he certainly has every right to present his case as he sees fit. I expected that Mr. Hartnett's case and Mr. Castro would take up the bulk of the first day, and that the other witnesses we could probably subpoena for the second day to try and make it so we don't have so many people out of the city at one point in time. But we still, depending on Your Honor's order, would be willing to consider having a fair number of those witnesses come in by Zoom, because we expect some of their testimony, if they need to be called, and we don't know that for sure until we see the evidence put forward, would be very brief and could be done, I think, effectively through Zoom, if Your Honor were willing to allow that. Otherwise, when I issue the subpoenas today and tomorrow, I will just issue them as in-person subpoenas and put a caveat to stay in touch with us that we might be able to do it by Zoom at a later date.
Mr. Hartnett, do you propose that your witnesses are going to all appear in person?
I do.
Okay.
I expect that they will all appear in person.
And do you have any objection to particularly law enforcement witnesses who testify on behalf being called by the respondent appear by Zoom?
I don't have any objection to that.
No objection. Okay. Um, well, first of all, I did a rather rudimentary calculation. This case couldn't be heard in 2 days if all these witnesses testified at the time allotted for them. So it's one thing to say if the enforcement counsel's case gets presented at Mr. Castro in day one, but if all the rest of these people testified, we wouldn't get it done in day two, and presently we have this scheduled for day two. So I think what and I understand appropriately, Mr. Jacobs, you said, well, I don't know yet which one of these folks I'm going to find necessary to call, right, at this point.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. But let's be practical here a little bit. First of all, without imposing any constraints on your right and your ability to call witnesses that are necessary, can you do you have any way to anticipate at this point how many of these folks are actually going to need to testify?
At this moment, I would have to assume that the bulk of them will have to appear to some degree, to some extent of time. But again, I'm not privy to what Mr. Hartnett's going to put on for his case, and I'm not privy to what some of the witnesses we're going to call are going to say that might have to be rebutted by these witnesses that I have on my list. They certainly would corroborate testimony of the respondent, but they also might rebut other testimony depending on what people elect to state under oath before your hearing. So it's a little hard for me to anticipate. I'm trying to keep open my options. We are going through the exhibits, and I am preparing the testimony for Mr. Castro, because that is the principal testimony, but I'm also preparing to deal with other individuals who are going to testify. So that is an exceedingly time-consuming, lengthy process.
Mr. Hartnett, do you have a sense of how long your case will take to put in?
I mean, I expect to finish in the first day.
Okay, so that's consistent with what Mr. Jacobs is thinking as well. guess.
Yeah, no, I think I'll finish the first day, and I can just jump ahead of specific witnesses if it's helpful. Like I know we'll talk about the mayor later, because of the issue with the interpreter. I'm actually anticipating I may not call the mayor. So I haven't made that decision, but if I do, it would be the end of the day. Um, um,
Yeah,
but
because we needed the information. That's right
the interpreter.
for the interpreter.
I mean, so I think it would definitely be the first day. I mean, if either I end or he starts and he's the first witness for the respondent, that's fine. But or he can be second day, that's fine too. But yeah, I'm in, my best guess right now would be that I'm not going to call him. And my best guess would be that I'm not going to recall him. I'm not going to call the respondent.
Do you anticipate, Mr. Jacobs, that if the division didn't call the mayor, that you would be calling him?
Most likely, yes, Your Honor.
And so we're going to hear from him one way or the other. And that's why it's really, in terms of the interpreter availability, I want to get that ironed out as quickly as we can so we can make sure we have somebody. When can you let us know, Mr. Hartnett, whether you think you'll be calling him on day one?
I mean, I can make that decision in the next couple of days for sure.
All right. Well, why don't you do that just so each side can be prepared for when he's going to appear in this matter. Sounds like he's going to appear one way or the other. So, what else? And is it the case that and by the way, when we're talking about the scope of testimony, we went around on this a little bit in some of the preliminary matters we discussed in terms of discovery and ultimately in some of the other issues that were raised by respondents, but I want to make sure that we understand, what has been left to another proceeding and not to this proceeding. Is there any confusion about that from the point of view of the respondent?
I'm not sure I'm completely clear on your question, Your Honor. My
Well,
assumption is
if
that,
I went back and looked at your response to the order to show cause, and you
correct.
raised a lot of issues, I'm not being critical of it. You raised a lot of issues, some of which responded to the sort of the meat of the allegations that were made in the order to show cause. Others of which were mostly related to process, um, uh, you know, and lack of due process and other issues in there. Some of which I think are not properly before me in this particular hearing.
I believe my plan, Your Honor, and Your Honor can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the show cause order is the order against Mr. Castro that makes allegations that we have to defend before Your Honor, and either prevail at the appropriate level, or we risk having you make a finding adverse to Mr. Castro. I do not believe the issues that we raise, which we believe are valid issues, are before Your Honor at this adjudicatory hearing. I believe we have to respond to the show cause and only the show cause.
Okay. Well, you and I are of the same mind. I wanted to make sure that was the case. And again, I'm not critical of any of the other issues you raised in connection with the initial filing on your part. But you're absolutely right. We are focused on the allegations of the order to show cause. And as long as everybody understands that, I think we'll be fine.
My assumption is that the hiring, firing, and certifying issues that were in the initial letter are no longer in the show cause. And if it's not in the show cause, then we don't have to defend or address that particular issue.
Well, let's ask the division. Well, how do you respond to that?
I think he's referring to what was mentioned in the suspension order. Is that?
That is correct.
Yeah, no, if it's not an allegation in the order to show cause, I am not planning on raising it. It's not something.
Okay. Well, that's the way I thought it would work as well. So, and it sounds like we're all on the same pages with regard to that. Okay. Well, that's as long as we all understand that, we'll have a good sense about what evidence is probative and relevant, both to the division's case as well as the defense of this matter. And I'll certainly have that in mind as we hear the witnesses in this case and see the exhibits. But it didn't sound as though there were any particular exhibits either that appear on this joint exhibit list that have that either party has raised an objection to, except to the extent that and I won't say it's an objection, there's a question about redaction, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But is that right, or are there objections to any particular exhibits at this point?
So there's 63 joint exhibits, and then there's a
Right.
couple exhibits that are listed as respondents exhibits. I may or may not object to them. Part of it was I hadn't really seen fully what they were, so I kind of so I'm objecting for now.
So you're what? I'm sorry, I'm
I'm
having
objecting for now, for sure. There's like, I think there's like 8 or 9 exhibits that he mentioned he might put in that I've objected to, that I will probably object to.
Am I missing that of the 63? Are
That's
there?
at the end of the list.
Pardon?
Should be at the end of the list.
I may have
They're
missed.
labeled respondent, Your Honor.
Yeah.
At the bottom
Oh,
of
I
the
see what you
exhibit,
say.
joint
Response
exhibit list.
exhibits at the end. Yeah, there's 10 of those.
Yeah, and I think he withdrew he might withdraw one of them, so it might be 9.
All right. But so by the very fact they're not joint, that indicates that you may be raising an objection to them.
Correct.
Okay. Is there one that's been withdrawn, Mr. Jacobs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is that?
That, well, not on that joint, I believe. I'm not sure which list you're reading from.
I'm looking at the joint exhibit list, the last page of which has respondents' proposed exhibits, and it lists 10.
Is there a statutory one listed in that list, Your Honor?
Yeah, well, this Mass General Laws, Chapter 31. Yeah.
That was deleted from the proposed list. Mr. Hartnett and I tried to upload our exhibits to help Ms. Zhao in processing the books, and in doing that, I modified the respondents list, and I took, I believe, 2 or 3 out, and those are not in what were uploaded to the website. And I believe Mr. Hartnett has a copy of what was uploaded. So yes, that initial list that we submitted some time ago has been modified to delete some of the exhibits from that list. They're still labeled as respondents exhibits because Mr. Hartnett has not yet agreed to them, so they are not joint exhibits. But that list has been modified.
So, well, I hear you say it, but I'm just trying to. Was it modified and then presented to us? A modified list?
I don't know if we presented it to you. I can have an exhibit list presented to the commission later today. That's no problem.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. I just want to keep control over it. And if there are some additional exhibits that you don't feel or that you're not presently planning on introducing, let us know, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Beyond the Mass General Laws exhibit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. If for some reason we can't get this done in 2 days, Lizzie, I'm trying to think of this is scheduled for Thursday and Friday, right? The
Yes,
6th
it
and
is.
7th. So I don't want to have a situation where we're where there's a substantial delay between those 2 days and the next proceeding.
Yep.
I see that so much of this depends, of course, on we're using the civil service hearing room again, right?
We are, yes.
Okay. So what we don't know is availability there, I assume.
Yes. And I reached out to them just to see when the room is available, but there's no guarantee right now that it will be available on the 10th or
Yeah, because that would
subsequent week.
ideally, if we could, and I'm saying this also so the council can think ahead in terms of making sure that they're available on a particular date. Assuming the civil service has their room available on the 10th, it would make sense to me that we continue and conclude on the 10th. So, are you folks okay with that?
I am available, Your Honor.
I'm available on the 10th. Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's plan on Lizzie. Let us know after you hear from them. All right.
Yes, we'll do.
Thank you. All right. So we also have two motions that were raised here. One was essentially a sequestration request. I gather since there was no response, Mr. Hartnett, you had no objection to sequestering witnesses.
No, Your Honor. I think we had talked about it and everybody was in agreement. So
Yeah, just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something along the way. So the I know how we do it when people are in person and they're sitting out in the hallway. What I don't know is, I guess you can put them in a breakout room and on Zoom. Lizzie, is that what you would do?
Yes, we could do something like that, or when it is the witnesses' time to testify, we can, like admit them and once they're done testifying, remove them and they won't be able to join again.
Okay.
The only question, Your Honor, is this hearing going to be available to the public in live time?
You're asking me the hard questions, Mr. Jacobs, really.
My apologies, Your Honor.
I only answer easy questions, so you can't ask me any hard questions. So I'll ask she who probably knows the answer to that question. I know it's available afterwards. I honestly, and people can stand and sit and watch it. They can attend, but and what do you mean available?
Well,
Like a video of it? I mean, a copy of it?
if it is available in live time, just having a person on Zoom or coming in on the second day for appearing, if he's been looking at the hearing and listening to witnesses testify, they're not really sequestered, and that's my concern that people
Well,
will.
as far as I'm concerned, that risk sort of happens, especially in the Zoom era, and it's a good point. But I'm going to issue an order at this point, and everybody who's listed um, as a witness will have that. I'll probably impose on. And we'll think about how we distribute that, but may have the council have to provide witnesses they're calling to receive a copy of the order.
I
And
can do that with my apologies, Your Honor.
no, that's all right. No, I
can-
meant just saying that's my intention. They'll have that order. They'll know that they're not allowed to watch the proceedings before they testify. They're not, or nor talk with anybody about their testimony while this matter is proceeding. So I think that presumably will, assuming nobody's going to violate the order, will answer your concern.
And I can send that with the subpoenas. If I have that in the next day or two, I can give Mr. Houghton, who said he would accept the subpoenas on behalf of all of the city employees, the police department or non-police city individuals.
Right.
The only one that I would have to have served by constable is Mr. Moore.
So I just don't want to hold the process up and have a problem. Go ahead and serve. All right, let's make sure they get served. And if we have to follow up, but with the order being distributed to the witnesses, we'll figure out a way to do that. I'm going to see if we can get this done in time to coincide with your service. But just in case, I don't want you to wait and then all of a sudden people say they didn't get enough notice.
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay. So that's that motion. Then there's the division's motion for a partial closure. Mr. Hartnett, this is different than the last case we just had a hearing on in terms of the existence of protective orders throughout the procedure and the need for that. And and the closure of the hearing itself. Um, the preference is, and the law requires, transparency in this process. And I know you certainly appreciate that, and the parties understand that. Um, the quite frankly, the information I've received doesn't necessarily, in a specific way, doesn't provide me with enough information to decide whether the statute requires me to close any part of it. I can say with regard to somebody's medical file, for instance, that we would inherently and intrinsically prevent that from being disclosed. But we want to do it. It's a matter of timing more than anything, and how you do it without disrupting the proceeding. You know, doing it at a certain time when if you have to shut down for a short period of time, or redacting a something that's um, an exhibit that might contain that information. But along those same lines, and I have to be persuaded that there's some relevancy to information that's private. For instance, somebody's home address, and I know that was raised in the response, and phone numbers. Um, you don't have to close a hearing or redact a document if the information isn't relevant and shouldn't be admitted in the first place. And I feel that way about the medical issues as well. But one of the things I did was go back and re-review the respondent's response to the order to show cause, and I did see some reference in there that I sort of allows me to have a hint at least about where some medical information might come in as to at least one witness. Um, so what do you say about that? I mean, we need to be pretty specific about this in order to uh, both decide whether and how limited we can uh, close, make that information unavailable to the public.
Given that this hearing, Your Honor, I believe is available to the public, I think Mr. Hartnett and I are concerned that we need to be not specific unless what we are specific about before you is impounded in some way, because if we start talking in specificity, we defeat the purpose of asking for the hearing to be partially closed.
Well,
before
you say that, but the motion makes a specific reference to an issue. So I thought about that when I read the motion. Because I agree with you, it does. You sort of.
Your Honor, I mean, in terms of the medical issue, it's one individual's medical issue. I would anticipate two people would be testifying about it. Both Captain Guerrero and Captain Montos would probably be testifying about it.
I'm really having a little trouble hearing you, Mr.
Sorry.
Hartman. I'm sorry.
No, so it's one particular issue. In the redactions that I've sent, I've redacted that issue from the copy. I sent a redacted copy along with unredacted copies of the exhibits, and I've already submitted
Okay.
that. In terms
That's
of the
helpful.
actual testimony, I mean, the only idea that I could think of, I don't know if this would work, would be that if I could, I mean, we could obviously do our best. I could limit bringing it up till the very end of my my questioning of the individuals who are going to need to talk about that. Then we can close the Zoom, kick everybody out of the room for however long it needs to happen, and then when the respondent starts his cross, he should just start with that subject matter so that we can just sort of maybe, if that's okay.
Right. No, but
respond.
that's what I'm thinking in terms of is isolating it, doing it at the same time, and that's probably the best way to do it. But to do it at the end, to have the direct testimony filed, that any cross related to that be done at the beginning of your cross, Mr. Jacobs, so that we don't have to, open and close the proceedings multiple times. Do you have any problem with that?
I don't, Your Honor.
Okay. I think it's pretty clear from your motion who you're referring to. So, at least unless I've got this all wrong, I think I know
No,
you.
I think you do. I think
Right. And the other part of it, though, is this, the personal and personnel information that you referenced. Um, I'm going to have to be persuaded that that has some relevancy in the first place.
Yeah, I think there's no, just so we're clear, um, I think we've already submitted a copy of the documents that had personal information of that individual and personal information of other people, and we've submitted redacted copies of that, and I think there's an agreement on that. So I don't think the personal information there's any issue or disagreement on. And then I think as to the personnel, I think it's just a matter of me clarifying what I mean by that. I mean, I understand that certain individuals, there may be, it's more about their employment directly related to purely their employment, not to their actions. Specific actions that people took or didn't take, that's fair game. But I'm
Right.
talking about like purely just employment status type stuff. And I think that doesn't need to be made public. And I think that's personnel information that is technically not part of the public record and can be left out. And that's really
I
just
get,
to that one witness. Anyway.
I guess Mr. Hartnett and I should perhaps talk offline because I'm not 100% clear what personnel information he's referring to. We have no intention or desire, and I've talked with Mr. Hartnett and agreed that things of personal addresses, any minor names, birth dates, all those standard things, we have no interest in that information being public, nor do we intend to bring it out publicly. And we are both working together where any document has that in it. We're cooperatively trying to get it all redacted because your honor is 100% correct. It has no relevance to the case. We have no desire for it if it appears in a document that we otherwise need. I'm not sure about the personnel things that Mr. Hartnett is referring to, but I have no objection to talking with him offline to try and better understand what he means, and we probably can resolve the issue.
All right. Well, I'd prefer you do it that way, and you both have a sense of that. And if there's an issue after you two talk, you should bring it to my attention initially, and not obviously in a public disclosed document. But so until I have a chance to review what you have in mind. But I certainly encourage you. It would seem to me to be a bit of a stretch to need to make that part of the public record in this case. The personnel part as well as the personal part. So you two get together on that. Let me know if there's an issue.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And and there's some reference in your partial opposition, Mr. Jacobs, to um, conversations of a prospective witness with members of the department amounting to, quote, collective misconduct. And I don't really know what that means in terms of whether it's something that, if it's collective misconduct in relation to the facts of this case, then it seems to me it's likely fair game for.
Understood, Your Honor.
But if you're concerned, Mr. Hartnett, if you're concerned about what he's talking about being appropriately disclosed or even being relevant, you have to raise that before it gets disclosed.
Understood.
Do you know what he's talking about?
I think I do.
Okay. I mean, I tried to sort of figure that out by looking back at the initial response, but there's a lot of material in there, so I'm not exactly sure with the specific witnesses that are left, what that means. So again, let me know if there's an issue.
Understood, Your Honor.
What else we got, Dodge?
Your Honor,
Yes.
this is a little unusual, but I got an email from the city attorney. He's asking if he could be heard.
At this hearing,
Yeah,
is he the person to whom,
he's the one who I served the subpoenas on. Correct.
yeah, what's his name again? I'm sorry, I forget.
Tim
Tim
Howard.
Houghton.
Tim Houghton. Um, well, better now than later. Is he here? Is he attending?
I don't know. He sent an email asking if he could.
Lizzie, can you tell if Mr. Houghton is appearing?
Yes, he is on Zoom.
All right. Does either party have any objection to him being heard at this conference?
No, Your Honor.
No,
All right. Why don't we have Mr. Houghton join us then?
All right, I just promoted him to a panelist, so once he joins, he'll be able to speak.
Okay, well. Mr. Houghton, if you can hear us, you can join us, but you'll have to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
So my concern is that I have a list of 19 people subpoenaed, in addition to 5 for the first day. 13 of these are police officers. How do I get? I have 1 police officer who's already on vacation during those dates. If this continue, I've only asked them if they were available on that Friday. I don't know if any of them are not available on the following Monday or Tuesday. I also don't know what they want to testify. Again, I'm not part of this case, but they're calling the secretary. She was not available. She never answered any calls. She never followed anybody in a police car. Most of them don't know why they're being called. I don't know what they're going to testify to. And Your Honor, with due respect, having dealt with Attorney Jacobs before, I know that Mr. Jacobs, for a correct word, is deliberative. Each of these witnesses will not be quick. They will be
Each of them will not be what? I'm sorry.
quick.
Quick.
Mr. Jacobs asks a lot of questions and takes his time with each witness. That's his prerogative. But 17 of these, you're not going to get through in 4 days. I don't know what they're testifying to. I mean, as a city, I have to operate a police department that has to have officers available. I mean, I need to know when they're being called, if they're around. I mean, I'm attempting to have them come to my office and do Zoom calls from here. I mean, on the first day, just looking at the prosecution's list, I doubt you're going to get through there on the first day, and you may not get through on the second day. I'm just really concerned that, I mean, I'm looking to fully cooperate with you, Your Honor, but I'm trying to be really practical that, you know, 20 witnesses the second day is not going to happen. It's just, and not even a third day. I mean,
Well, I don't disagree with you on that part. That's why I started this hearing talking about that very issue. And I have the same, for different reasons, I have the same concern that you do. And I agree with you. I was just counting up the hours of day one. It's true. If your estimates are right, also expanding the amount of time that Mr. Jacobs has indicated Mr. Castro would be testifying, you have 8 to 10 hours for day one. So let me throw that back at Mr. Hartnett. Let me throw that back to you. How do you think your case can go in? Well, obviously, if you didn't call Mr. Castro, it could go in, but now we know that what Mr. Jacobs is likely, the time he's likely to use in Mr. Castro's direct.
Yeah, I mean, I still think if I don't call Mr. Castro, then I can certainly finish in the first day.
Right.
I have a limited. I don't view this as a huge universe of information. To be honest, I think it's about 4 different, like a couple different instances, but ultimately very limited in scope, each one. What I don't know is how long the cross will be. And then, but in terms of other witnesses, I mean, the only thing I can suggest is that if Mr. Castro is going to be testifying, if it's okay, I mean, he can be sort of broken up and we can maybe pick, like, aim for some specific times for some other individuals, and Mr. Castro can sort of be in and around that. I know that's not necessarily ideal. It would be ideal to just have them go in one flow, but I mean, if anybody is, I'm just trying to think out. There's anybody whose testimony doesn't have to necessarily be all at once because he's there the whole time anyways, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Look, as the fact finder, I'm a little selfish about how that proceeds as well. To have it broken up. I get what you're saying, and I know you're trying to accommodate the concern Mr. Houghton has. So I appreciate that. But ideally, if you're not calling Mr. Castro, then I wanted to be talking to Mr. Jacobs about the time he's likely to testify, because we won't schedule these other folks during that period of time. I don't want them sitting around. They got their jobs to do. And if you're not calling them, it's actually pretty easy for you to assign times, given the amount of times that you're allotting to your 5 other witnesses here, Mr. Hartnett. We could give them a schedule without having people have to sit around too long. It's harder when we come to the, how many are there? The 14 other witnesses that are, if maybe including Mr. Castro, 15 others that are on the respondents list. So I want us to work closely with Mr. Houghton in terms of scheduling this. So what do you think, Mr. Jacobs, about if the if the division is not calling your client? Is there any reason, well, let's say they finish, I'm just looking at the time. 1, 2. Is there any reason why we couldn't call them in the afternoon of the first day after the division puts on its other 5 witnesses? Have them testify, and if we can't complete them on that day, starting the first thing the next morning. And then scheduling people thereafter.
Are you referring to my witnesses, Your Honor?
Right now, I'm referring to Mr. Castro testifying.
If
the division isn't calling him, we have the division put on its witnesses first. When they complete on day 1, you start Mr. Castro. In a perfect world, you'd finish with Mr. Castro, but assuming you don't, that he'd continue the first thing Friday morning. So we would know, first of all, that we wouldn't need any of the witnesses you're calling. Well, 2 things we'd know. We wouldn't need the witnesses that you'll have a better sense after that about who you are going to call, number 1, because you'll have heard the division's case. And you've acknowledged that you may, depending on what happens there, you may or may not need all these witnesses. You can make that determination. So certain people may not have to be sitting around at all. Secondly, and I understand you may not know that until you hear from other witnesses. It's not a perfect world. But we would also know about when we needed to start hearing from these city employees and police officers on the following day.
If Mr. Hartnett is going to, I think Mr. Hartnett only planned that Mr. Castro and I would be 2 hours. So if Your Honor added it up to 10, even if he eliminates Mr. Castro, he will take presumptively the first day to present his case. Then
no, I made it a 4-hour thing when I added your time in when I said it was going to be 10 hours, day 1.
So if he finishes his case before the end of day 1, yes, I would most likely start with Mr. Castro on day 1 and continue on day 2 into Mr. Castro, So none of my witnesses would need to be there on the Thursday other than Mr. Castro. And then,
And the people that the enforcement council is calling. There's some
well, I'm only speaking,
law enforcement people there, but I
I'm
think
only,
I'm just saying, you can, I think Mr. Hartnett can work with Mr. Houghton with regard to the order of those witnesses and when they need to be available. Can't you, Mr. Hartnett?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that might solve day one's problem. The bigger problem is day two.
And Your Honor, day one, I have told all the witnesses they are in person, so they will be in person.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's the additional, we can do without a sergeant, a lieutenant, and a captain for one day. I can't do without 14 officers for one day.
No,
It's
I'm
just-
getting that. And that's what I'm trying to work with you on right now.
Yeah, I
So,
appreciate that, Your Honor.
yeah. So I understand that, but it would be nice to know, let's say we have 2 hours left on Thursday. You put Mr. Castro on, you'll have pretty good sense about how much more time you're going to need Friday morning. And then we can start, and hopefully you'll have a good sense about how many of these folks you're going to need the following day, Mr. Jacobs. So
that is correct, Your Honor. And I would also have a better sense on which ones could appear by Zoom from Mr. Houghton's office, the conference room at the City Hall or somewhere there, where they are in the room alone and able to respond. Some of those witnesses I expect will be exceedingly short, and I don't believe the cross will be of any length, if anything.
well,
So
the
a lot of
estimates are pretty modest as well here for the individuals,
correct, Your Honor.
except for I'm looking here, except for Mr. Spanner and Mr. Is it Morin? Is that how you say his name?
Correct.
Those are the only two that are have a risk of being sort of substantially longer.
The other thing, Your Honor, I don't know, again, it's your, Mr. Spanner could appear on the first day in person if you wanted and take him as the first witness before Mr. Castro. He is available that first day.
Well, that I have no problem. Would you have any problem with that, calling him first,
Are
Mr.
you-
Jacobs?
Yes, Your Honor. I would probably prefer that Mr. Castro present his case in completion before I call the other witnesses, because I think he has a story to tell. And if it's broken up and becomes choppy, he loses a lot of the benefit of the story and the explanations and his defense.
I'm not talking, I don't even think Mr. Holden's suggesting that we break it up. It's just that but is there any reason he couldn't testify before Mr. Castro and then Mr. Castro testifies uninterrupted after that?
Yes, I think from the standpoint of the preparation that I planned, Mr. Castro will be the first witness for the defense's case, and Mr. Spanner would testify if he's going to testify after Mr. Castro. Unless the Commonwealth calls him or the division calls him, then we would cross him if he's called. If he's not called.
No, there's no indication that the division's calling him, right?
Correct. So my plan is Mr. Castro is first witness and will go to tell and respond to the show cause in completion before any other witnesses are put on.
Is there any reason why any of the witnesses that might testify for the not pursuant to subpoenas by the respondent cannot testify by Zoom?
Most of the officers can probably testify. The secretary can testify by Zoom. Many of the officers probably can testify. The only potential difficulty, and Ms. Zhao indicated that it's solvable problem, will be perhaps being able to have them view videos and documents at the time they're testifying, because some officers, I have no problem being Zoom because they don't have documents to review or videos to review. It will be verbal testimony and verbal recollection. Others.
But wait, I hate to interrupt you, but we talked about this last time we were together, and it seemed that we are technologically able to have the anyone attending this by Zoom observe the document or the video that you want to question about.
That is correct. And Ms. Zhao indicated that. And so we've taken that into account when I make my final decision. Prior to the hearing, I would contact Mr. Houghton to let him know which ones we felt could be by Zoom. We're hoping to have as many as possible appear by Zoom rather than coming into Boston to the hearing directly in person.
I just think I get that, but that's still a little vague for what we're trying to do here, which is schedule a large number of city employees. What's the hang up with regard to whether they'd have to be in person or by Zoom, from your perspective?
Whether there's any difficulty in their being able to work the technology, to be able to respond to the questions when things are portrayed on the screen to them for videos or documents. If that can be done, if there's a separate screen that can be available in the conference room, that may be able to be solved, and many of them may be able to appear by Zoom.
How about that, Mr. Houghton? Do you have two screens you can put in the conference room?
I have a giant screen. I mean, on most Zoom situations, Your Honor, as you know,
You do a split screen,
split screen and there's the document, and it's
right?
so you see the person, you see the document.
But
I don't
it's a
think there'll
big
be a problem.
screen. You said it's a large
TV.
screen.
It's a large TV.
Okay. So I don't know. I have a lot of faith this is done every day in courtrooms and business meetings around the world, and where people are sharing documents, sharing videos. Doesn't mean I know how to do it, but fortunately, you don't have to rely on me. That's the good news. But we have very good people that work with us here that have that are technologically adept and can do this. So I think, unless there's some other reason that I'm not hearing from you, Mr. Jacobs, I think we ought to be able to accommodate these witnesses and have them appear by Zoom.
I don't have a problem with that, Your Honor. My hope was that most of them could appear by Zoom, and that's what I was going to be in contact further. I've been in contact with Mr. Houghton. I was going to be in further contact with him.
I know you're being a careful lawyer. It's the word most of them that I keep responding to, because we're trying to make arrangements now or get this kind of set up. And if there's another issue that I'm not hearing from you, I just want to know about it.
There is not another issue as such. I have not prepared all the questioning for each witness as of yet. We are working on that. I'm actively involved in going over all the documents and preparing which ones would be used for which witnesses and which would be done on cross for Mr. Hartnett's case, and then which will be done in my case in chief with Mr. Castro, and then which will be done with the other alternate witnesses. So I have all the testimony and questions that are going to be asked all outlined and ready to go, so that it's a coordinated and properly run hearing from my standpoint as far as presenting the respondent's case. I don't believe there are any other issues as such. I just have not accomplished going through all that, but
All right.
I
Here's
don't
the deal.
see.
Here's the deal. I get what you're saying. Here's the deal. If as you finish your preparation, you say, "Oh my goodness, I really need Mr. Moran to be present in person, regardless of our digital capabilities," you got to let us know. That kind of
Yes,
thing
right.
we need to know in advance. And that's because it's going to be hard enough to get this done in a way that is, fair to the witnesses in the city in terms of employee availability to them and to us. So that's one thing. So the second thing will be to prepare an order. I don't mean a capital O hearing officer order, but the chronological order of how you would want these witnesses to appear, assuming you call them, so we can have them lined up, and somebody who's there at 10 o'clock isn't somebody who's going to get called at 4 o'clock. Um, particularly since many of these could be 20, 30-minute witnesses. And I think it's fair for us to make this as precise as we can for the city. So I need you to work on that as you're finishing your preparation as well, Mr. Jacobs.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
And let's get that to Mr. Houghton as early as we can so he can figure out who's going to be in their patrol car at any given moment in the city of uh, Lawrence, right? I won't be there, so I'm not concerned, but I'm thinking about the good citizens of Lawrence.
Could I ask Mr. Houghton which witness he indicates is on vacation?
Oh, yeah, you did mention that. Good.
Yes, it is LPD officer Gary Yancey.
And he is on vacation for the Thursday and the Friday?
He is.
Is he available on the Monday?
I hadn't asked, that's why I was here today to see. I didn't know if it was continued to that date or what the data would be continued to.
So I guess that's a good question. So if you can find that out, actually, for most people, in case we see that this is going to go over into Monday as well. As to Mr. Yancey, assuming that he's remains to be an important witness or a witness, um, is he somewhere with his computer where he could get on a Zoom call, a Zoom call? Can you find that out as well?
I could find that out, Your Honor.
Right. I just, there may not be a problem. Those are the problems I like best that aren't really problems. So let's find, if we give that information to Mr. Houghton, I think we can probably resolve most problems that might happen or could arise. So let's do that. You'll need to give him an order of witnesses. I think, Mr. Hartnett, you'll have to make a final decision on whether you're planning to call Mr. Castro so we can set this up. Um, and and then Mr. Houghton, in the meantime, will find out if there are any availability issues.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are we okay on that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. So, and thank you for Mr. Houghton for accommodating the receipt of subpoenas and letting us get this done. It's important we have your cooperation and we appreciate it.
No problem, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So we'll let you go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And in terms of counsel, are there any remaining issues you think we need to resolve?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Mr. Hartnett and I are communicating. We'll be going over all the documents, making sure we have a final set that have all the redactions that we both agree to. And that way Ms. Zhao will be able to make up whatever binders and have available the videos and audios that she needs to make available for the
How
hearing.
long are the videos?
I don't know the exact length of the videos, but
just generally.
They're relatively short videos, and where there are longer videos, we are going through the videos and trying to find the time link so that we don't intend to show videos that are pointless videos that
Good.
waste time. We're going to try to assist Ms. Zhao to get right into a specific timeline on the video for whatever it is we need to show, and go right to the point. We're not looking to waste the court's time at all.
Good. Well, I'm less concerned with our time than witness time because of the unusual circumstances of who the witnesses are and how many of them there are in this matter. So, so anything you can do in that regard to be able to really focus in on exactly what you need, that would be great.
Thank you. Yes, understood, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Hartnett, do you have any other issues?
I don't. I believe Mr. Castro has his hand up too now.
What? I'm sorry.
I think Mr. Castro wants to say something. He's got his hand up. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't get that part. Is there something you wanted to add, Mr. Castro?
Yes, if I have, the mayor, I believe he's gonna be out of the country after the end of 7 and 8, 9 and 10.
Okay. So we need to make sure we get him in on the 6th or 7th is what you're saying, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you have that in mind, Mr. Jacobs?
Is the mayor going to be available on the 7th, Mr. Castro?
He's gonna be traveling out of the country
Oh, I
On
thought
the
you said,
7th.
oh, on the 7th?
on the 7th.
Oh. Hmm. Um, Here we thought we had this all figured out. I'm glad you brought it up, Mr. Castro.
Yes, sir.
So let's figure that out.
Also, he believe he has hired an attorney. That's from what I gather.
Well, has he been subpoenaed by anybody?
He's going to be subpoenaed by me. He's one of the ones on the list that I gave to Mr. Houghton.
Okay.
I also served a subpoena on him.
I'm sorry.
I also served a subpoena on the mayor.
You did,
And I served it to Mr. Howden, who accepted it.
and you haven't heard from you
No.
think he has a lawyer other than Mr. It's Houghton, Mr. Houghton?
There's a, if I may,
Yes.
believe his attorney have requested some information, and I don't think he has it yet. He's not familiar with the case, and since he's going to be representing him, there's some issues on that side.
Well, he can raise whatever issues he wants. We're not going to delay this case. I mean, this has been out there for a long time, so I hope that if he's got an attorney that needs information, he better be talking to these two lawyers, right? If you could pass that on through the mayor, that would be helpful to us. But he needs to understand that one way or the other, if he's a witness that one party or the other needs, we're going to get him in somehow before he ends up out of the country. And the other issue, of course, as you've heard throughout this, is that he's indicated, or we've been told that he needs the assistance of an interpreter. So we need to know that in advance too. We don't have people sitting around waiting to interpret. We have to arrange for that. So all of that really needs to be done right away.
Will do, sir.
And of course, that could completely foul up this great plan I've just come up with scheduling. But what the heck? So I guess as a practical matter, he might be right after if the division doesn't call the mayor, and but there's but you may call him, right? You actually may be calling him.
I had anticipated it. The more I think about it, I think it's unlikely I would.
Oh, okay. Well, but when I was figuring the time, I sort of had him for Monday anyway. I mean, excuse me, the 6th anyway. So when you get done with your witnesses, we should plan on the mayor being the first one out of the box if Mr. Jacobs still wants to call him. Right?
I definitely will want to call him. Obviously, it's my preference to put Mr. Castro on first, but if we have a conflict, then we'll find a way to work it out, Your Honor.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think and then I'm very sensitive to people being able to put on their case in the order that they want. But here's a situation where the division was going to call him. They might very well have called him in the first instance anyway, so you would have had him before he tested his testimony prior to Mr. Castro's testimony. And you always have to think about it. I don't know. Many of us who tried cases forever often liked having our clients testify at the end because they heard what everybody else had to say. But that's your strategy, not mine. That's important here. But you should really plan if he's not available that Friday and for days after that, we really need to figure out a way to get him on Thursday.
I'm mindful, Your Honor, that this is not a jury trial. It is a hearing with a judge who has significant experience and ability to take a witness out of order and still keep all the facts of the case straight. So I will work with Mr. Hartnett and Mr. Houghton, and we will get the mayor on before he leaves the country. Depending on Mr. Hartnett's case, I don't want to limit or restrict him as long as he gets his case done on Thursday or stops his case to allow the mayor to testify and be crossed. I'll work with Mr. Hartnett to do that. And then if he's not finished his case, he can finish his case Friday morning. I'll work with Mr. Hartnett so that we can get everything done that we need to get done.
And I'll try to live up to that description of me being able to hear witnesses out of order and handle it. So, but I'm just being facetious. Thank you. I appreciate you working together. You folks have worked together pretty well so far, and that's exactly the way this is designed to be set up, and it's very helpful when counsel do just that. So thank you. And Mr. Castro, thank you for raising that so we didn't get caught short on that issue.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right. So anything else?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Okay.
No,
Is
no.
there anything we've forgotten?
I just wanted to ask if you think we should have a backup date, for November 10th. That's that Monday, just in case that doesn't
that-
work for people.
I wanted to do that. Yeah, that's why I want to check with civil service. It sounds like the lawyers are available.
Okay.
We'll have to worry about the witnesses after, but it seems to me that if we still need Monday, then we can have the town work, the city work with its witnesses to let the Friday people testify on Friday and the Monday people available on Monday testify on Monday. Again, it may not be the exact order that council wants, but we really do need to get this done. So you should let all of us know, particularly them, if Monday works for room availability. Okay.
Yes, if the Monday doesn't work, would the parties be available later that week, either Wednesday or Thursday? I just, want to give them.
Yeah, no, it's a good
multiple dates
idea.
and
Let me
days.
look for me.
The,
I could do Thursday but what do you, how's your schedules look?
I have hearings Wednesday and Thursday, but they can be covered.
Great.
I mean, Thursday would be a better day. But Wednesday, I can, if we have this hearing going and you need Wednesday, I'll file a motion today to move that hearing.
I'd rather, Wednesday is not very good for me either. So if it's possible, Mr. Hartnett, are you okay on Thursday, the 13th?
I am.
Good. So 10th or the 13th would be our preferences right now.
Great, I'll propose those dates to the Civil
All right,
Service
great.
Commission.
Thank you. All right. Any issues come up, you know how to find us. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. So we can close the hearing.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.